I've come to the studio of artist Vanessa Stone, who's going to tell us a little bit more about the inspiration that she got from classical art, as well as a bit about the creative process and quite what it's like to be a modern artist. Vanessa, thank you for joining me.
Hello, Tristan.
Can you tell us what it is about classical statues that inspired you to make your collages?
The thing about classical sculptures is they're very clean and streamlined. So it's very easy to look at them and think that they naturally go with the medium that I work with. They're just very beautiful. So I wanted to capture some of that in paper and really have a dialogue between the beauty of the statues and a different kind of medium.
So are there any statues in particular that inspired your work?
A lot of the goddesses I really loved, but really it's not the famous ones, it's the ones kind of tucked around the corner that I think are quite interesting because they're often a bit more quirky and unnoticed, and I quite like the fact that I'm working from something that's a little bit in the shadows.
From your experience, are many artists inspired by classical art?
I think there's quite a few, and certainly classical art would have been used absolutely fundamentally in art school to draw from. Plaster casts would have been available for students to work from instead of life models. So classical art and sculptures have actually been embedded in artist experience. And I think actually artists do look to them quite a bit because they're such refined pieces of art. It gives you great lessons in composition and shape and balance.
So did you use them whilst you were learning your trade at art school then?
I did. I did a design degree, but I certainly always, my love of anything classical has gone back a long time. So that with classical architecture as well. I just love the shapes and just the sense of balance and stillness, really.
So can you tell us a bit about the creative process from when you first come up with an idea to a finished collage like this one?
I spend quite a bit of time at the place that I'm going to draw, so certainly at the museum then I spent lots of time just sitting and looking. That's actually all I wanted to do, and just absorbing. I often think about it being a kind of raining time. You're just taking in the images and absorbing them, because then it's through you that they start coming out. It's a strange thing that bubbles up through the subconscious. So then I spend time in the museum and then I start drawing. And these are the kind of drawings that I tend to do. This was based on a youth, just a youth with curly hair. And so I just do drawings. I'm only looking at lines. I'm only looking at the structure of the actual sculpture, because I'm not capturing light and shade. It's just shape. And from that, I then transfer it onto a piece of paper. So like this, I actually transfer it onto a piece of paper and cut it from a single sheet. And then I cut very delicately, capturing kind of the profile and little parts of the body, abstracting it down so it's the simplest elements that I've captured. And then from that, I lay paper from behind, which then go onto something like this. These kind of collages where there's paper I've stuck from behind and cut away.
So is it difficult to get your work shown in a public exhibition?
It is yes and no. It's difficult because you do have to follow a process of making a proposal and then seeing if you can get through those hoops, really, and whether your work is good enough. Certainly at the Museum of Classical Archaeology it took some time to get through that. My work needed to go through to the committee and be considered. So yes, it isn't easy. It isn't easy.
But is there a dream gallery that you'd really, really love your work to be shown in?
Well, in Cambridge, I would be over the moon if ever my work was at Kettle's Yard, because it's such a beautiful house, but the quality of the work that's shown in the galleries is amazing. Yes, I dream of that. I don't know whether I'd ever get to that, but it would be amazing, yes.
Thank you very much for talking to us.
That's all right, it's a pleasure.